Hello, welcome back to another video. I hope you like this kind of thing. I pulled the footage from one of my old Let's Plays. So, hope you like that. If you want to look at it, I'll put a link in the description to it. Anyway, so today I'm going to be giving tips to people who are starting to play EU4. Okay? And, they're all over the place. Some are about warfare, some are about your economy. It's kind of all over the place. So, I hope you enjoyed the video, and let's get started. So, my number one tip is, well, these are also listed in no particular order, so just ahead of time, just keep that in mind. Anyway, so, number one thing is, I think you should look at the terrain. Their terrain, so if you hover over a province, you see the province name, you see the fort level if there's a fort there, and you see the terrain. The reason I want to focus on terrain is because when you're at war, you want to be a defender in a battle on certain provinces. So in case you didn't know, in battles, the basic way things go is that there's a dice roll on a scale of 1 to 9. No, it's 0 to 9. 9, and this is a direct multiplier on how much damage you do. So it's a pretty important part of the game, and it really makes battles maybe sway that more than it usually would. So, but when you are attacking, say, on a fort that's a mountain, or if you're an attacker on a mountain, you get -2 to your dice roll. So you do less damage, which is obviously a bad thing. You want to have the most optimal amount of damage while taking the least amount of damage. So I recommend looking at those and making sure that you don't let other countries siege down your mountain forts, because they are very important and it is easy to fight them there. They're easy choke points. If you're in a coalition war, they can get stuck on one of your mountain forts and you can just beat them there again and again and again. That is what you want to do, because again, the -2 dice roll, and that hurts. And also note that when you occupy a province, and you attack them there, that means it's you. And if it's your province and you attack them and they're sieging down your fort and you attack them, you are the defender. Keep that in mind. So that's it for the first tip. Second tip, stay with the military tech. Now, I assume almost all of us at some point in playing EU4 has, lost many battles in a war without knowing why. And this is probably because you were low on military tech. Military tech is so important. You cannot preach that enough. It is so important. If you are behind in military tech, you are fighting an uphill battle. It's kind of like fighting attacker on mountains 10 times over. It's really difficult, especially on certain techs, because I know I've actually seen this on YouTube where people are playing as England. They don't abdicate the 0-0 king the moment they are able to, which also tip to be abdicate that king as soon as possible if the War of the Roses doesn't fire. Anyway, so they don't abdicate that king, and since he's a 0-0-0, obviously their neighbors are able to build up a lot more monarch power than them. Therefore, you really just want to... Alright, first and foremost, you abdicate that king. But I have seen people do that, not abdicate the king, get behind a military tech, and then attack Scotland, be an attacker on their hills fort, and they would lose every time, and they thought it was the dice rolls. It wasn't the dice rolls. It was because they are like 2 techs behind them. They were tech 3, Scotland was tech 5, and if you looked at the military quality stats, they are very lopsided in Scotland's favor. So basically, get the military tech. Also, try to maintain your good flow of monarch points, whether that be by hiring good advisors or whatever. They are very important to your game. But even if you are 1 tech behind, like 3 to 4, that's a huge difference. Their army is a ton better than yours. I promise you. You can try it. You will lose so many battles. It'll be very frustrating. So just stick with the military tech of your neighbors. If you're in India, that may be different than sticking to the same tech they are in Europe because of all the institutions and stuff, but just stick with your neighbors. Try to get ahead if possible. So yeah, that was tip number 2. Tip number 3 is AE juggle. Now, I'm assuming all of you know what AE is. That AE is aggressive expansion, in case you didn't know. And it really generates when you attack someone and you take a ton of their land, obviously. When it gets over 50, they can form a coalition against you and attack you, and it's really big and stuff. So what you want to do is AE juggle, and this is basically saying, say you're the Ottomans. What happens is people get more upset if you conquer their neighbors than if you conquer like something far away, which is understandable because they don't care what you do far away as long as it doesn't really affect them. So what you want to do is, say you're the Ottomans, you want to attack in like Anatolia in the farther east against the Mamluks or in Persia and whatnot. And once the AE gets high there, you move towards Europe and Italy because they won't have a ton of AE because you are on a completely different side of like Europe than they were. So they don't really care what you do over there in the far east. So you could attack the Europeans. Once that has a lot of AE, the AE in the east has died down quite a bit, and you would be able to, fight in the east again. This is how a lot of really good players are able to just blob at crazy rates. It's because they AE juggle. It doesn't allow a coalition to form, and they can just be at war basically the entire game. So that's the basics. Obviously, if you're not blobbing, that doesn't really affect you, but that's tip 3. Tip 4 is trade. Now, at the beginning of the game, trade is not super important, mostly because you can get a sufficient amount of money doing tax stuff or production stuff that will make up the bulk of your money at the beginning of the game, unless you're some powerhouse, a trade powerhouse like England, or for example. But by the end of the game, a good chunk of your money should be coming from trade, because tax will eventually not be sufficient for you to sustain a large army and whatnot. So trading is so important because you can get huge amounts of money, especially if you're in Europe, because there are 3 end nodes. That's where trade comes in and it doesn't come out. Those 3 nodes are Venice, Genoa, and the English Channel. A lot of those can be fueled by taking over stuff in other parts of the world. You can get to Genoa by taking over Iberia and the Seville node, and pushing all the stuff from Africa and North America, maybe, into the Genoa trade node. You should get a lot of money that way. If you're England, you can get a ton of stuff from your colonies too, right to the channel. You can also get stuff from Lubeck, which is also very useful. And if you're Venice, you can get stuff from Constantinople. You can get stuff from Alexandria and Aleppo. Like, there's so many ways to get trade. Even if you're in India, say, you could get stuff from like Malaya and get that over to your place. So That's what you should be doing. By 1700, you should be a mainly trade-based economy, because you should be big enough to be able to, you know, be able to have powerful trading, if you know what I mean. Anyway, so tip number 5, do not be afraid of loans. Now, I know I was a beginner too, and I was terrified of loans because, well, who wouldn't? Like, I always thought it was this like downward spiral, and I would have to stay, I would have to stay at peace, can't go to war, and just sit there until with low army maintenance until my thing got back up. So, but that is 100% not the case. Now, obviously, loans get, like, when you look at loans on the front, you take money, you, honestly, the basics is, you do get money, which is good, but then you go to the money you're making, you see the interest, which is from the loan, and you kind of freak out, because let's all be real, it kind of seems like a downward spiral once you take one loan, because then you start losing more money per turn. You shouldn't, this does not mean I need to go to peace right away, because the truth is that war can help you get money faster than just about anything in the game. Because you can simply take money from another country. If you have a big army but you're struggling economically, fight another semi-large country and take a few hundred or 1,000 ducats from them, and you're good to go, you know? Like, it's that simple. I don't know exactly how the money you can get is calculated. I know how it's calculated. It can be 5 loans are from that country, and loans are based on development. So you can attack a big country, get a ton of money from them, even if it means taking out a few loans to get that money, because often in the war, the money you get you are able to repay all of your loans with that money. That's the basic idea. Even if it doesn't, it's no big deal. Because loans aren't terrible. Because obviously, being at peace works. You can lower your army maintenance and stuff. Because, let's face it, lowering army maintenance is a good way to get money per turn. But it does take a while, and some people don't really like it to take a while. So this is a faster way to get your economy on track and stuff. Now, obviously, economies are tough to handle. There's a lot more that goes into it than that, but I do think you should. It doesn't always mean you have to be at peace though. You can like stay in the war you're in, finish it up, take money, and it's usually not a big deal. Now, if you got like 15 loans, that's kind of a problem. But if it's just 1, 2, 3 loans, I wouldn't worry too much about it. I wouldn't worry about taking out loans to get institutions. Like, I wouldn't be super worried about it. If you need something now, like another army or a mercenary stack, feel free to take out a loan to get it. So, that was all 5 tips. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. I think I'm gonna maybe stick a bit more to this new kind of thing where I've got my gameplay in the background. I don't know what y'all think, and comments are disabled, so I can't know what you think. But personally, I like it, so that's it. And see you next time. Or not.